evening, everybody. I'd like to call to order the special meeting of the Lansing City Council for April 3rd, 2017. I want to recognize that Mayor Bernero is here visiting with us. Welcome.
Thank you. Is this my chance to say something?
Yes, please.
I appreciate the council grappling with this very important issue. I know it's been an issue through several meetings. I've heard from many community members about this, and I've thought deeply about it.
This sanctuary city has become a very polarizing, big issue. In 12 years as mayor, I have done nothing but show that we are open, that we welcome all people. We welcome refugees, we welcome immigrants. Our police department does not check immigration status. But, you know, I'm not a congressman. There are things that a congressman or a U.S. senator or a president can do and can demand of federal agencies that I can't.
Thank you very much. We've ordered a crackdown on sanctuary cities that refuse to comply with federal law.
Sanctuary cities are a violation of the rule of law, and they are not to be tolerated. That means if you want federal assistance, you got to enforce the law.
We've begun a nationwide effort to remove criminal aliens and others who pose a threat to public safety. Our administration is working night and day to keep you safe.
If Mayor Bernero, the mayor of Lansing, says, yes, I deem that we are a sanctuary city, is ICE going to listen to that? Is President Trump going to say, oh, okay, Verge, we'll stay out of Lansing? They have jurisdiction. They're the federal government. They can come in and enforce what they want to enforce.
I think the executive order added another layer as to what we were looking at. We have a fiduciary responsibility to the taxpayers.
There are two bills introduced. One is very active in the Michigan legislature that threatens to cut revenue sharing from the city.
There are many days and weeks where we operate on crisis management in the city. We have far more need than we have resources.
The dollars that we're talking about make a difference on whether we're going to have bulletproof vest for our police officers, whether they're going to be able to receive training.
As mayor, I take an oath to the citizens of Lansing to run the city as best I can. I have real issues to deal with every day. I have jobs that need to be created. I have potholes that have to be filled. I have snow. I have ice. There's probably another ice storm still on its way in Michigan. Those are real issues to me.
It would be a shame for someone to say that potholes are more important than people. You can't equate one with the other. I think the issue here is not the word sanctuary, it's about the effect of sanctuary. It's about having policies in place that make people feel safe to live in their community.
We are here to demand equality for all undocumented, documented, and citizens from anywhere and everywhere.
You're talking about profiling a very large segment of the population. It affects all immigrants, it affects refugees, it affects anyone that looks like an immigrant or refugee.
So you are at home raising your family? You had to run to the store to buy milk? and half an hour later you are in an ICE detention center.
Pedimos una copia de la carta poder. Llévenselo porque en todos lados lo están pidiendo.
Ahí hay una...
People is in real panic.
¿Alguien tiene alguna pregunta?
We are facing this new situation of a federal authority trying to make decisions on what is best for our community. If you're gonna deal with human beings, you should make your decisions from a human perspective, not with numbers in an office.
If I were Carol Wood, not city council member, saying that I want everybody protected, I would absolutely want to look at that. But when I put on another hat, as Carol Wood as council member, I swore an oath that I would be responsible for the Constitution of the United States and our charter.
I'm sure I've got residents in Lansing who are afraid of being deported. And they're on my list of concerns. They are. But I'm just saying, I guess I'm being brutally honest with you, that they're not number one or two. They can't be, because my bandwidth only goes so far. My cabinet is only so big. My budget is only so big. There's only so much time in the day.
What is clear is that we are in uncertain territory, and it's going to be up to the legal system to decide who is in the right side and who is not.
We have a history, actually a very unfortunate history in this country, of immigration laws that were designed to exclude people on the basis of race and nationality. When the United States was settled by people traveling to the New World from the UK, there was this idea in our country that migration was really a right. But now we see this 20th century idea of nation states that have a right to keep people out.
The federal government, with its broad powers, can regulate states, but in so doing, it must be respectful of state sovereignty. A basic principle is that the federal government cannot commandeer the states to carry out federal policy.
When you have sheriff's departments and local police trying to understand immigration law, which is more complicated or as complicated as the tax code, and it's not their primary area of responsibility, you're going to have people make errors that invariably will violate somebody's constitutional rights and create liability for those municipalities and sheriff's departments that they don't want.
Congress has not, and it could not constitutionally enact the law requiring the states to cooperate with ICE.
It's a federal issue, but it's a local issue. Our people are impacted by it. Families here in Lansing are impacted by it. Families here in Lansing are scared. Chief, we've talked a lot about community policing and the approach of our police department, building up that trust.
This isn't hypothetical. This is stuff. This is real, where people are affected in their daily lives. It's a problem.
I believe it's a real issue.
There's a risk there that this could be used against, local officials, and there's a risk that we would subject the city to lawsuits. I know there's different organizations that say, well, no, that's not constitutional, but the risk is still there.
I have no interest in violating federal law. I have no interest in picking a fight with the federal government. I have no interest in putting our federal dollars in harm's way. But as you know, I do have an interest in taking a stand for civil liberties.
This is a hypothetical risk. The real risk right now is people being torn apart, their families being torn apart.
I have not rushed in to do anything from a policy perspective. I've taken strong stances against Trump's language, and we are an open city. We've made clear that we're an open, welcoming city, the council and the mayor. The question now is, do we need to do more? Is it clear enough? Is our policy clear enough? Is the law clear enough in Lansing? could we do more? Should we do more that wouldn't put us in violation of federal law?
Mayor issues executive order clarifying city policies.
It's time to put clear policies in place to give city officials, including law enforcement, the tools they need to help keep our communities safe. With the various immigrant and refugee-related controversies coming out, it's intended to or should be construed to limit communication with federal immigration authorities about an individual's citizenship or immigration status. That's pretty good.
Okay, now let's focus on the press release.
Today I issued an executive order that will, for the first time, codify and clarify city policies used when interacting with, detaining, or processing immigrants and refugees who may be undocumented. We will continue to enforce the law equally in Lansing without regard to immigration or other status. I just feel that it's time to put clear policies in place to give city officials, including law enforcement, the tools they need to help keep our entire community safe. I am confident that these new policies do not violate federal law, but I'm also prepared to take legal action to protect the prerogatives and powers of local government and local law enforcement. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.